Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited about today's video because we're celebrating my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. To mark the occasion, I thought it would be fun to do a Q&A and answer some of your questions that you left me in the comments of last week's video. Questions about life and retirement, home and the cats, and a little bit more about me. So get comfy and let's chat. I'm really looking forward to sharing some honest, lighthearted, and hopefully helpful answers with you all. Here's the first question from Irene. I wonder how you fill your days in retirement, or if you're thinking of becoming involved in an organization or a part-time job. I have to be honest, I used to be one of those people who genuinely wondered what on earth retired people did all day, other than watch TV and take naps. And then retirement happened, and let's just say I've changed my tune. More often than not, I can't even explain how exactly I fill my days. I just know that I do. And in fact, I now find myself wondering how I ever had the time to work. I've been retired about 4 months, so you'd think I'd have this new normal all figured out by now. I do not even close. Yes, I absolutely do want to volunteer. I just don't know yet what that will look like. And yes, I very much treat YouTube like my part-time job, although the pay, well, let's just say I could probably use a raise. In truth, this season of my life is really about learning how to manage my time differently and finally making my health and well-being priority number one. Because honestly, if not now, when? I've always had other priorities and I was very good at using them as excuses. And now it feels like the rubber has finally met the road. So I do try to spend the first part of my day tending to my mental and spiritual and of course physical health, doing what fills me up and moving my body in ways that help me to keep moving. Then once that's taken care of, I turn my attention to what is, for now, my part-time job, which is YouTube. And that balance helps me feel both productive and well looked after. And of course, I spend lots of time with friends. I get out and about most days, and I try not to fully surrender to hibernation mode, especially now in winter when that is really tempting. So yes, volunteering is definitely on my heart, but I'm also giving myself permission to ease into this time without overcommitting, because I've been overworked and overscheduled for most of my adult life. And I think most of us know exactly how that feels. So right now I'm learning that it's okay to simply be for a little while, and honestly, that might be the hardest and most important adjustment for me for now, because for the first time I'm letting life unfold without rushing to organize it. Here's the second question, which is from Marissa. Congratulations on your 1-year anniversary coming up. What is your favorite part of doing YouTube? My favorite part might surprise you. It's actually the editing. Once I've filmed the video on my iPhone, I head into Canva, which is the editing software that I taught myself to use. I'm still amazed that we live in a time where if you want to learn something, the answer is literally right at your fingertips. YouTube, ChatGPT, technology in general. All you have to do is ask the question, and that still really blows my mind. There are so many layers to making a YouTube video. First, there's coming up with the idea, and just because I want to make a video about something doesn't mean anyone wants to watch it. So there's a bit of a mind reading involved. And then there's writing the script, imagining how I want the message to land, filming it, and finally editing all together. And editing is definitely the most time-consuming part, but it's also the part that I enjoy the most. I like trying new things, stretching my skills, and being able to say, okay, this one's a little bit better than the last. And editing is where I get to fix all the little things that I thought sounded brilliant while I was filming them and absolutely did not. And editing is also where I discover just how many times I say, "and so," which makes me wonder how no one in my real life has staged an intervention. Then there's creating a thumbnail and uploading the video and choosing words and phrases that hopefully help it find its people. And of course, reading and replying to your comments, which I truly make every effort to do for each one. So yes, it's a lot. Every step is enjoyable in its own way and also a little grueling too. And yet I keep coming back, and thank you that you do too. This next question is from Nancy. I'd like to ask you to kindly describe the perfect solo day. I retired recently and am still struggling with designing my days and enjoying them solo. This is a really good question and an honest one, because the truth is a perfect solo day is going to look different for every single person. And even for the same person, it can look different depending on the mood of the day. For me, a perfect solo day isn't about doing something impressive or productive. It's really about balance, a little rest time, a little movement, and some time thinking and creating, and some time for connection. Even if that connection is just a phone call or a walk where you exchange smiles with strangers. I don't think we're meant to spend every minute of every day doing only what we want. That's not real life. But I do think we can be intentional about the pockets of time we do have to ourselves and use them in ways that encourage us rather than drain us. That might be reading, creating something with your hands, tending to plants or a garden, or caring for a pet, or doing something that quietly speaks to your heart. I also think it helps to do at least one thing that gently uses your brain, just enough to keep those neurons firing without turning it into another obligation. And some days, I'll admit, the perfect solo day includes doing absolutely nothing terribly exciting and being completely okay with that. So if you're still figuring this out, you're not behind, you're just still in the design phase. The next question is, have you ever regretted getting rid of any items? Well, I'd be lying if I said I've never donated or given something away and then needed it later. I absolutely have. A good example is furniture. When I sold my home in 2022 and moved into my apartment, I gave away almost all of my furniture, not because I didn't love it or use it, but simply because I didn't have the space for it. And now that I'm in a home with more room, there are many moments where I think, well, that would have been very handy to have right now instead of having to go out and buy it again. But the truth is, I had nowhere to store it for those 3 years. And I do believe in fresh starts and mixing things up. So yes, I've occasionally wished I'd kept a few lovely furniture pieces instead of having to buy new ones. But it's okay. I don't dwell on it. What I don't regret, not for a second, is donating the many, many boxes and bins and bags of things I kept just in case I might need them someday. Because you guessed it, I haven't needed them yet. So I may miss a chair or a bench or two, but I don't miss the clutter. Letting go isn't about making perfect decisions. It's about making the best decision you can with the space and your life at the time. And when you remember that, it gets a little easier to be kind to yourself about the rest. The next question is from Rosie. You have such a beautiful home. How do you manage to keep it so clean with 2 cats? Cat hair and litter tracking, especially with carpets. Oh my gosh, I truly feel your pain, Rosie. When I had my big boy cat, Bailey, bless his heart, sometimes I felt like it was a full-time job cleaning up after him, with the fur tumbleweeds and the litter everywhere. I was just really grateful that the apartment had no carpeting. When I moved from that apartment and the movers lifted up the kitchen island, I was absolutely horrified at the size of the fur balls that lived under it. That said, I've been incredibly lucky with these two little ladies I adopted a few months ago. They are surprisingly clean and tidy. This is my first time having short-haired tabby cats, and I have to say I'm amazed at how little they shed, or at least how little I've noticed. I also admit that after years of being a pet owner, well, that trained me very well. I long ago gave up wearing black at home or having dark fabrics because that just created more work for me, which is probably why I own so many gray clothes. As for keeping things clean, I really believe it's about staying on top of it. A little bit each day goes a long way. I do a quick vacuum around the litter boxes daily. They sit on boot mats to protect the carpet. And I sweep or vacuum the main floors every other day or so. Honestly, it never feels overwhelming. But no need to worry, right? A lived-in home with a little fur is still a very happy home. And every now and then I'll find a lone whisker on the floor. That's a sign of good luck, isn't it? The next question reads, you seem very calm. Have you always been this way, or has this side of your personality developed as you got older? The slightest thing can ruin my mood. I'm still trying to master my Zen. This is a question so many of us can relate to. I think I've always had a fairly quiet personality, but that doesn't mean I've never fumed or had a very spirited internal monologue during stressful moments. I just haven't ever been someone who ranted and raved out loud about them. I've always joked that I have a very long fuse, but if it ever gets lit, I scare even myself. I've definitely found more of my calm as I've gotten older, and it's not because life got easier. It's because I finally realized I don't want small, silly things stealing my peace or taking up rent-free space in my head. Do I still get irritated? Of course. If someone's rude, oh, I notice. And if people are late, I notice that too. But I've learned not to let those things drag on. People are going to be people, and not everyone moves through the world the way that I do. Expecting them to is just really setting myself up for frustration. So my version of Zen isn't about being calm all the time. It's about recovering faster, letting things pass through instead of parking there, and reminding myself that my energy is limited and I get to choose where it goes. And I think protecting our peace is far more important than being right. Here's the next couple of questions. What is the shade of green on your two walls? And if you were escaping a fire and could only save one thing, what would it be? I will allow you to, and you and I know full well what our answers will be. Oh, this made me laugh. The paint color is called Sleeping Water. It's from the store Rona here in Canada, and the brand of paint is Seco. And yes, you nailed it. I'd save the kitties, but also if I were allowed just one more item, it would be my fireproof bag that holds my will, my medical documents, life insurance, banking information, and my external hard drive with most of my family pictures on it. You made me think, though, I could probably shove so many more things in this fireproof bag. Something to think about. Here's the next question. I'm curious how you make major life decisions as a single person. I struggle with big changes because I have no one to bounce ideas off, except well-meaning friends who say, do what's best for you, when I have no idea what that is. This is really such a good question because making big decisions on your own can feel both empowering and overwhelming at the same time. Sometimes the answer truly does come from your gut, you just know. But more often than not, at least for me, big decisions take time. They take thinking, information gathering, and sitting with the idea for a while. And I'll admit something that might sound very unglamorous. I'm a big fan of a good old-fashioned pros and con list. Once everything is down on paper, you can actually see the decision and then decide which points really matter and which ones don't carry as much weight as you thought. I also think confidence comes from experience, and each time you make a decision and realize, okay, I handled that, it makes the next one a little less scary. And while we often ask others for advice or opinions, I've found that deep down, we usually already know what feels right for us. We're just looking for reassurance. Of course, if a decision is outside of your comfort zone, things like finances, medical issues, or anything with serious consequences, it's important to bring in reliable, reputable professionals. And finding someone you trust isn't always easy, and that matters too. If something doesn't feel right, it's okay to keep looking. So for me, it's a mix of listening to my intuition, doing my homework, and trusting that I'm capable of figuring things out, even when it feels uncomfortable. And I've learned that confidence usually shows up after the decision, not before it. These next two questions are from Teresa. What did you do for work before you retired? And also, how many grandchildren do you have? Believe it or not, I worked in the technology industry, troubleshooting and providing technical support for people with their computers, helping them with all sorts of tech issues. Was it something I loved and truly filled me up? Absolutely not. Well, not the technology part anyways. I did enjoy helping people. It wasn't my dream job, but it was a job I fell into after school. It paid the bills, and over the years, I got pretty good at it. And along that same vein, Danielle asked the question, do you miss work? Did I miss it once I retired? Heck no, not one little bit. 4 decades of fixing computers and laptops and printers and all the peripherals that go with them. I'm grateful for the experience, but I was more than ready to close that chapter. I may be done with computers, but I'm officially starting my favorite new role, Gramma. As for grandchildren, I'm thrilled to say that I'm expecting my first grandchild in March. My son and his wife are getting ready to welcome their little one. Tech troubles behind me and diaper duties ahead. Bring it on. And the very last question reads, please remind us of the purpose of this channel, Positively 60, aside from decluttering. I love this question because it really gives me a chance to step back and remember why I started this channel in the first place. While decluttering is a big part of what I share, this channel is really about living our best, most joyful, authentic life, especially in this season of life. I like to create videos about creating a home that feels like your sanctuary, embracing new experiences, and learning to give yourself permission to enjoy life on our very own terms. It's about small, everyday choices that quietly add up to feeling happier and more in control of our lives, whether that's trying a new hobby or connecting with friends or just sitting quietly with contentment and no guilt. And it's about remembering that life is for living, not just ticking boxes of someone else's shoulds list. We're here to laugh and reflect and, yes, sometimes, a lot of times, fumble along the way, but that's okay. This channel was intended to be a little corner of encouragement and inspiration, and my reminder, and hopefully yours too, that it's never too late to live the life that you want. Thank you so much for your great questions. I've thoroughly enjoyed answering them. I can't believe it's been a whole year since I started this journey with you. And what a year it's been. I'm so grateful for every comment, every like, every share, and every one of you who has taken the time to watch and connect and support me. This channel really is a little community of encouragement and positivity, and I couldn't do it without you. I can't wait to see what this next year brings, and I hope you'll continue to join me on the journey. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Until next time, take good care.